Was good, ballers? It's Jim's Ballin' back again with another video here with the AFC and NFC Conference Championship recaps. Bit of a thoughts and reaction to them, so let's just get right into it. The first game in the NFC, we had the Commanders at the Eagles, and the Eagles kinda dominated the Commanders. Now, I ended up predicting the Eagles to win, but I only predicted them to win 27-20, win by a touchdown, and they dominated. I mean, maybe not the first half dominating as much, but in the second half, the Eagles just really pulled away and won the game fairly easily. And like I said, I did predict the Eagles to win, but to win by this many points is kind of insane. I mean, to put up 55 points in a conference championship is kind of ridiculous. But that's kind of what happened, and the Commanders' defense is not really the best. Like I said, they have the worst defense of these final four teams remaining, and it kind of showed. And the two things I predicted was that Saquon Barkley would have a big game, and he sort of did, I guess. I mean, 15 carries, 118 yards is a pretty good performance. I mean, just for Saquon Barkley numbers, it may not seem that impressive, but I mean, 3 TDs, practically 8 yards a carry. Saquon Barkley did have a big game. But I mainly said that because of Jahmyr Gibbs having a big game, and basically what I was getting at was that the Eagles were going to be able to run the ball. Just with the second half, just in the second half, Shipley had 4 carries for 77 yards, so he took some carries. Jalen Hurts had some carries as well, some tush pushes for some touchdowns. So I guess my point still stands that, Saquon did have a big game, and that the Eagles were going to be able to run the ball, and that's what they were able to do. If Jahmyr Gibbs had a big game for the Lions with their good offensive line, the Eagles have an even better running back with Saquon and maybe even better offensive line. So yeah, I really thought the Eagles were going to be able to run the ball, and they really did. Put 229 rushing yards on the Commanders. And the other big thing was that the Eagles defense would perform better than the Lions defense. This was the third matchup for the Eagles against Commanders, so they were familiar with Jane Daniels. Eagles defense isn't as banged up as the Lions, so with a healthier defense, better defense, and familiar with how Jane Daniels plays, familiar with that scheme, they were able to limit Jane Daniels. And those two things helped the Eagles win, but the other big thing was the turnovers. Commanders kind of got a bit of a taste of their own medicine here. After they got 5 turnovers off of the Lions, they now turned over the ball 4 times themselves this week, with the Eagles having 0 turnovers. Basically a reverse of their game against the Lions. They turned over the ball a bunch and they lost. But yeah, for the Eagles, I've said it earlier that the Eagles might have the best roster in the league. They just need to play like it, and they certainly played like it. With each week in the playoffs, the Eagles have been getting better and better, and now they're back in the Super Bowl. And as for the Commanders, this is kind of a sad loss. It's a tough loss to take. Any loss in the conference championship is tough to take. But the thing is with the Commanders, to be able to make it this far with Jane Daniels' rookie season, it's insanely impressive. For the Commanders, you should know that you're going to have another chance. You're going to make it back. And the Commanders are going to be a really good team for a long time. This is a tough loss, but you know that the future is going to be bright for the Commanders as long as they got Jane Daniels. They'll be a very competitive team. But a good commanding win for the Eagles here. And now for the AFC matchup, I predicted that the Chiefs would win this one 23-21. Basically, Chiefs winning off of a game-winning field goal. While my score prediction was off, everything else was kind of right. The game was tied 29-29, and with the Chiefs putting up a field goal, it was a game-winning field goal after they stopped Josh Allen when he had a chance to win the game. Shut him down. Basically, it was a game-winning field goal, and yeah, it was pretty much as expected, as these two teams have been meeting up in the playoffs. It's always been a close game, entertaining game, but with the Chiefs barely ending up on top, and that's kind of how it was again. It definitely wasn't that bold of a prediction from me, I will admit that, but it was an obvious prediction, and history is always going to repeat itself, I guess. And the Chiefs are just always going to make it back to the Super Bowl time and time again. As for the stats, the stats were insanely close for both teams, just total yards, passing yards, rushing yards, yards per play, just every stat down the line. It's pretty even. It's just these Chiefs, they always get in these close games, and then they just always barely win these games. They always end up on top, and can't say I'm surprised. I honestly don't have too much to say for this game because, I don't know, it kind of went as expected. It wasn't too surprising for me. Just These two teams always matching up, Chiefs always winning. It was a good game, really entertaining game, but the Chiefs always barely win. I don't know what you do if you're a team in the AFC. I mean, as long as Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are there, I mean, are the Chiefs going to make it to the Super Bowl just every single year? I don't know how you stop this team. I don't know, maybe you try to get Tom Brady out of retirement. Maybe if you're the Bengals, maybe you just need to put all your effort into making sure your defense is actually good. Because like the only quarterbacks have been able to stop Patrick Mahomes have been Tom Brady. Dude's retired. Joe Burrow. The Bengals don't have a defense. They can't even make the playoffs. So I don't know how you stop Patrick Mahomes if you're in the AFC. It's kind of ridiculous. Get a little sick of it. It's becoming predictable now, but that's just kind of how it is. Chiefs always winning. So yeah, we'll have a matchup of the Chiefs and the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Another rematch. Like I said, it wasn't the thing I wanted. I didn't want the Chiefs and Eagles to play each other, but it's what I predicted would happen, and can't say I'm surprised. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. This has been the AFC NFC recap. Probably get a Super Bowl prediction video out probably after the Pro Bowl game when we get closer to the game. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Jim's Ballin', and I'll see you next time. Peace.